Listen closely, because what is happening right now is not a product of an algorithm, nor is it a random click in the vast sea of the internet. This is a divine interruption. It is a predestined meeting point woven into the very fabric of your existence. You have arrived here because you were guided here. Today, the fog that has clouded your vision for years begins to dissipate. You have been marked for death not once, not twice, but 3 distinct times. On 3 separate occasions, the adversary attempted to seize what belongs to the Most High, but death passed over you. Now it is imperative, absolutely vital, that you understand why. Have you ever walked away from a situation, completely stunned that you are still alive? Have you felt time fold in on itself as if an invisible hand shielded you from imminent harm? Perhaps it was a car that missed you by attention. You need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you. And strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuzazara readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment. A mere inches, a chaotic venue you left just moments before a tragedy occurred, a sickness that doctors said should have been terminal, or a mental darkness so profound it tried to consume your sanity. Yet, here you are, breathing, conscious, transformed. This is not luck. This is not a coincidence. This is a celestial decree. Your life has been meticulously preserved, not by an act of random kindness, but for a defined, unshakable purpose. Your destiny could not be interrupted because your mission is irreplaceable. The space you occupy in this realm is a strategic divine move. The enemy, realizing the sheer magnitude of your calling long before you did, tried to eliminate you prematurely. But the heavens declared that your story was not over. You have felt the internal stirrings, haven't you? That nagging suspicion that the silence you are experiencing is not emptiness, but a pause before a massive shift. You feel that something dormant inside you is waking up. That silence is your soul, beginning to remember what your mind has forgotten. This is the convergence point, the spiritual warfare, the near-death experiences, the survival against all odds. It has all led to this precise moment. And this isn't just for you. It is for everyone connected to your calling. Your apparent delay was never a denial. It was a period of intense, fortified preparation. But before we unlock the specific reason why you are still standing, we must look at the nature of this protection. What is it really? And why does death keep missing the target when it comes to you? By earthly standards, you simply should not have survived. The trauma, the violence, the heartbreak, the despair. Statistically, these things should have consumed you. But they didn't. They didn't because something sacred stepped in. This force is divine protection, an invisible shield placed over lives marked for a grandiose purpose. Many chosen ones begin their journeys in absolute chaos. Broken homes, generational curses, inner torment. But from the very beginning, invisible hands were steering you away from total disaster. Think back, a fight that didn't happen because you turned left instead of right. A relationship that ended painfully, which you thought was a curse, but was actually saving you from a future of destruction. A delay at the airport, a lost set of keys, a cancelled meeting. Annoyances at the time, but in hindsight, they were lifesavers. This was intervention. Protection doesn't always feel like peace. Sometimes protection looks like isolation. Sometimes it looks like pain. Sometimes it looks like a door slamming shut in your face. You thought you were being punished, but you were being preserved. As we dive deeper into this mystery, I want you to take a moment to anchor yourself in this truth. If you are feeling a resonance in your spirit right now, if your heart is beating a little faster, that is your confirmation. Do me a favor and like this video, not for the metrics, but as a digital signal that you are present, that you are listening, and that you are ready to receive the revelation of the 3 deaths you escaped. When you engage, you tell the universe you are open to the truth. Your first escape was not luck, it was a declaration of war and a testament to your value. Long before you had any consciousness of your calling, your spirit was already under attack. The adversary saw your light before you found your voice, and he acted early. For many of you watching this, the first attempt on your life happened in the most vulnerable place imaginable. Your childhood, or even the womb. There are those of you who survived complications during pregnancy that should have ended your life before it began. The umbilical cord wrapped around a neck, a sudden drop in heart rate, a mysterious illness in the first few months of life that baffled doctors. It seemed like a medical anomaly, but it was a spiritual assassination attempt. The enemy does not wait for you to become powerful. He attacks your potential. He attacks the seed before it can become a tree. For others, this first death manifested as a childhood accident that defies explanation. You fell from a height that should have broken you, you were submerged in water for too long, or you were in the vicinity of danger that took others but left you untouched. You might have a scar on your body right now from that time, a physical reminder of the day the enemy missed. It wasn't just kids being kids, it was a targeted strike. And for some, the attack was emotional, a deep, paralyzing fear or a chaotic home environment designed to crush your spirit before you could develop an identity. Yet, you were covered. You were hidden in the shadow of the Almighty, even when you didn't know His name. This brings us to the second death. This one was more insidious because it was silent. The first escape was physical. The second escape was from a total internal collapse. This is the death that knocks not on the door of your house, but on the door of your mind. I am speaking to those of you who have walked through the valley of the shadow of death within your own thoughts. The enemy, realizing he could not kill your body in those early years, decided to try and convince you to destroy yourself. He infiltrated through exhaustion, through the heavy blanket of depression, through the disappearance of hope. You remember those years, the nights where sleep wouldn't come, or where sleep was the only escape you craved. You were fighting a war that nobody around you could see. You went to work, you smiled at family dinners, you functioned, but inside you were dying. The adversary whispered lies in a voice that sounded like your own. He told you that you were a burden, that nothing would ever change, that you had missed your chance, that you were too broken to be fixed. He tried to get you to lay down your weapons and surrender your life. There were moments, perhaps a specific night, where you stood on the precipice. You had the pills, or the plan, or just the overwhelming desire to cease existing. But you are still here. Why? Because divine protection intervened again. Maybe it wasn't a lightning bolt. Maybe it was a song that came on the radio at the exact right second. Maybe it was a phone call from a friend who said, "I was just thinking about you." And that single connection was enough to pull you back from the ledge. Maybe it was a sudden, inexplicable wave of peace that washed over you when you were crying on the bathroom floor. That was the hand of God sustaining you when your own strength had evaporated. Your survival of that mental siege is perhaps your greatest victory. You didn't just survive a bad day, you survived a spiritual siege designed to dismantle your mind. And the fact that you are listening to this with a sound mind capable of understanding deep spiritual truths is proof that the enemy failed. Before we reveal the third death, the most tangible and terrifying of them all, I want to challenge you. If you recognize that season of darkness, if you remember the time you almost gave up but didn't, type, "I am still here" in the comments. Let that be your declaration of victory. Let the written words cement your reality. You are not a victim of your past. You are a conqueror of it. The third time death approached, it was aggressive. It was real. It was visceral. This is the event that makes you shiver when you think about it. For many of you, this happened in your adult years. Perhaps recently, it was a car accident where the vehicle was totaled, twisted metal and shattered glass. Yet you walked away without a scratch, or with injuries that healed miraculously fast. It was a medical emergency, a heart attack, a stroke, a diagnosis that carried a death sentence, where the doctors shook their heads and said, "We don't know how you made it." It might have been an act of violence, a mugging, or a situation where you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you felt the cold breath of mortality on your neck. In that moment, time seemed to slow down. Many chosen ones report this phenomenon, the time bend. It's as if the universe holds its breath. You saw the car coming, you felt the pain, you saw the weapon, and in that split second, you felt a presence. You knew with absolute certainty that this could be the end. But then the script flipped. The car swerved. The gun jammed, the body rebooted. You were rescued from the edge of the abyss. Why? Because your story has not been written to end in tragedy. You carry the scars or the burning memory of that day, not as a trauma to hold you back, but as a testimony to propel you forward. It was an intervention of the highest order. Now we must address the burning question. Why? Why you? Why go to such great lengths to preserve one life among billions? Why did the angels receive charge over you to keep you in all your ways? It is not because you are perfect. It is not because you have never made mistakes. It is because of what you carry. You are a vessel for a specific frequency of light and truth that the world is desperate for right now. The enemy knows that if you fully awaken to your power, if you fully integrate the wisdom from these three deaths, you will become unstoppable. You will break the generational curses that have held your family line captive for centuries. You will speak words that unlock freedom for others. You will create, build, and heal in ways that shift the atmosphere around you. The three attempts on your life correspond to three levels of dominion you are called to master. The first attempt, in your early years, was an attack on your existence. By surviving it, you claimed your right to be here. You grounded your energy in this physical plane. The second attempt, the mental battle, was an attack on your identity. By surviving it, you claimed your mind, your perspective, and your ability to discern truth from lies. You learned empathy and depth that shallow people can never understand. The third attempt, the physical danger, was an attack on your purpose. By surviving it, you claimed your authority. You looked death in the face and death blinked. That gives you a fearlessness that is essential for the next chapter of your life. You are entering a season where the protection that has surrounded you is shifting from defensive to offensive. For years, God has been shielding you. Now, He is preparing to use you. The very things that tried to kill you are now the fuel for your mission. The loneliness gave you independence. The depression gave you depth. The near-death experiences gave you urgency. You are being called to operate with a sense of immediacy. Look at the date. Look at the time we are in. The world is shaking. Structures are crumbling. People are confused and afraid. They need leaders who have been through the fire and didn't burn. They need you. This is why you feel so different from your peers. This is why you can't engage in small talk anymore. This is why you feel a restless energy, a need to purge your life of everything that is fake or misaligned. You are shedding the final layers of the cocoon. The enemy tried to crush the cocoon to kill the butterfly, but all he did was strengthen your wings. I want you to consider the glitch in the matrix moments you've experienced, those times when reality seemed to flicker. Maybe you lost an item and it reappeared in an impossible place. Maybe you heard your name called when no one was there. Maybe you had a dream that played out exactly in real life a week later. These are not hallucinations. These are side effects of your high spiritual voltage. You are a being of immense energy, and because you have been preserved through so much trauma, your spiritual capacity has expanded. You are vibrating at a frequency that disrupts the status quo. The adversary's strategy was simple: stop you before you realize who you are. But he failed. And because he failed 3 times, he has lost his legal standing to touch you in that way again. There is a spiritual principle that states when the enemy attacks and fails, he must restore what was stolen 7-fold. You are due for a restoration. The energy that was drained from you during those years of survival is coming back to you as power, as charisma, as resources, and as influence. But there is a condition. You must accept your role. You can no longer play small. You can no longer hide in the shadows, hoping not to be noticed. You were saved to be seen, not for your ego, but for the light you carry. You must stop apologizing for your intensity. You must stop trying to fit your ocean-sized soul into a cup-sized life. It won't work. It never worked. That's why you felt so uncomfortable in normal situations, because you are not normal. You are chosen. Let's talk about the January 23rd significance mentioned in the title. Dates are markers in time, but in the spiritual realm, they represent open gates. We are currently in a corridor of time where the veil is thin. The energy of this specific period is about revelation and revealing what has been hidden. The fact that you are receiving this message now is confirmation that your period of hiding is ending. The incubation is over. The 3 deaths were the initiation rites. You passed. Now the real work begins. You might be asking, what do I do now? The first step is to stop fearing the future. If death couldn't take you when you were weak, ignorant, and unprotected, what makes you think anything can stop you now that you are awake, armed, and covered by the blood of the Lamb? The fear of what if is an insult to the God who preserved you. Replace your anxiety with awe. Look at your hands. Look in the mirror. You are a walking miracle. Treat yourself with the reverence due to a sacred vessel. The second step is to cut the cords with anything that reminds you of your victimhood. There are people in your life who only know the old you, the broken version, the depressed version, the victim version. They may not be able to go where you are going. You survived the crash. Don't stay at the crash site. You survived the sickness. Don't keep wearing the hospital gown. It is time to dress yourself in the armor of your purpose. The third step is to use your voice. Your story is the key that unlocks someone else's prison. You don't have to be a preacher or a guru. You just have to be authentic. When you share your resilience, even in small ways, you activate the chosen frequency in others. You become a lighthouse, and God knows this world needs lighthouses right now. I want to share a secret with you about the time bend. When you experience those moments where time slowed down during a crisis, it was because you were temporarily stepped out of the linear timeline. You were pulled into the eternal now, where God resides. In that space, there is no death. You touched eternity. That is why you feel like you don't fully belong here anymore. Part of you is still anchored in that timeless state. This gives you a perspective that others lack. You see the long game. You understand that this life is just a vapor, a testing ground. This detachment is actually a superpower. It allows you to take risks that others won't. It allows you to love without fear of loss, because you know that love is the only thing that transcends death. As we approach the end of this transmission, I need you to understand the responsibility that comes with your survival. You are the answer to someone's prayer. Somewhere, someone is crying out for help, for guidance, for a sign that life is worth living. You are that sign. Your survival is the proof they need. If you hoard your light, if you retreat back into fear, you are denying them their miracle. You were not saved for your own comfort. You were saved for contribution. The enemy may try to whisper to you again. He may try to bring up old symptoms, old fears, old patterns. He wants you to believe that the protection was a fluke and that the other shoe is about to drop. Do not listen. That is the ghost of the past trying to haunt your future. Stand firm. Remind the darkness of the 3 times it missed. Laugh in the face of fear. You have a track record of victory that is 100% proven. There is a specific alignment happening in the heavens right now for the chosen ones. It is a realignment of resources. Many of you have struggled financially or with stability because the enemy attacked your supply lines. He knew that if you were resourced, you would be dangerous. But because you survived the attacks on your life, the attacks on your livelihood are breaking too. Expect sudden shifts. Expect favor in places where you used to find friction. The same energy that preserved your heartbeat is now being directed toward your abundance. Open your hands and receive it. Do not block it with feelings of unworthiness. You paid the price. You walked through the fire. You deserve the rain of blessings. I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next 3 days, I want you to wake up and say out loud, I am authorized to be here. My mission is protected. I cannot be stopped. Say it until you feel it in your bones. Reprogram your subconscious mind to align with your survival. And watch what happens. Watch how the atmosphere shifts around you. This video was a divine setup. You needed to be reminded of who you are. You are not a survivor by chance. You are a survivor by assignment. The 3 deaths were not failures. They were credentials. Wear them like medals of honor. If this message has unlocked something in you, if you feel the heavy chains loosening, do not leave this moment without sealing it. Subscribe to the channel. This is not just a YouTube channel. It is a gathering place for the remnant, for the 1% who are called to see behind the veil. When you subscribe, you join a phalanx of spiritual warriors who are waking up all over the globe. We are stronger together. Click that notification bell so you never miss a transmission. The days are getting shorter and the messages are getting more critical. And please, share this video. There is someone in your circle, a friend, a sibling, a co-worker, who feels like they are drowning. They don't understand why their life has been so hard. They think they are cursed. This message could be the lifeline that pulls them out of the pit. Be the agent of God's intervention for them, just as someone or something was for you. Before you go, scroll down to the comments and read the declarations of others. You will see that you are not alone. There are thousands of us. We are the ones who death could not hold. We are the ones who the darkness could not swallow. We are the chosen, and our time is now. The fog is gone. The path is clear. You have been marked not for death, but for a life so vibrant and powerful that it terrifies the darkness. Walk in that power. Breathe in that grace. You are still here. And that means God is not done. Until we meet again, keep your eyes on the horizon and your spirit attuned to the silence. The best is yet to come. This is your era. This is your time. You are chosen. But being chosen is not a static state. It is an evolving responsibility, and there are deeper layers to this reality that we must address now that the crowd has left. If you are still listening, it is because your spirit detects that there is unfinished business in this conversation. You are part of the inner circle, the remnant within the remnant, and you are ready for the advanced instruction that the casual viewer cannot handle. Let's talk about the physics of what you have endured. We often speak of these attacks in spiritual terms, which is accurate, but there is a scientific reality to what happens to a human being who is carrying a high-voltage destiny in a low-voltage world. When you were facing those 3 near-death experiences, or those moments of complete systemic collapse, your nervous system was being conditioned to carry a higher frequency of energy. Think of a copper wire trying to conduct the energy of a lightning bolt. If the wire is not upgraded, it melts. The suffering you endured was the upgrade. It was the tempering of the steel. You were not being punished. You were being retrofitted for heavy-duty usage. This explains the physical symptoms you have likely been experiencing, which doctors often cannot diagnose. The sudden bouts of exhaustion that sleep does not cure. The ringing in your ears, which is not tinnitus, but a sensitivity to frequency shifts. The sudden intolerance for certain foods, specifically processed items or meat, as your body demands a vibrationally lighter fuel source. You may have thought your health was failing, but in reality, your vessel was shedding density to match the elevation of your spirit. You are becoming a superconductor for divine intent. I need to address a very specific phenomenon that affects the chosen ones, something that often sounds like paranoia to the unawakened, but is a tangible reality for you. It is the phenomenon of the watcher. You have likely noticed that throughout your life you are watched more closely than others. Mistakes that others get away with are immediately punished when you make them. It feels unfair. It feels like there is a spotlight on you that highlights every flaw. This is not your imagination. Because your light is brighter, your shadows are sharper. But more importantly, you are watched because you are a threat to the established order of mediocrity. There are people in your life, perhaps family members, perhaps colleagues, who seem irrationally irritated by your presence, even when you are silent. You walk into a room and the atmosphere changes. You haven't said a word, yet you feel their hostility. This is because your mere existence agitates the demons they are harboring. Your light disturbs their darkness without you lifting a finger. Do not try to dim your light to make them comfortable. That is a betrayal of your Creator. If they are uncomfortable, let them be uncomfortable. If they are agitated, let them be agitated. You are not here to be a sedative. You are here to be a stimulant for awakening. This brings us to the concept of the Great Purge regarding your relationships. Many of you are walking a solitary path right now. You look around, and the circle of friends you had 5 or 10 years ago is gone. You may feel a pang of loneliness, wondering if you are defective, wondering why you cannot maintain the social connections that seem so easy for others. Listen to me closely. This isolation is not a rejection. It is a protection. The universe had to remove people from your life who were not authorized to enter your next level. Some of them were anchors. Good people, perhaps. But their energy was too heavy. They would have capsized your boat in the deep waters you are now sailing. Others were leaks, people who were subconsciously siphoning your energy to fuel their own survival. You could not see it then because you were too close, but now, with the distance of time, you can see how drained you were in their presence. The solitude you are in is the incubator. It is the cocoon. Do not rush to fill the empty seats at your table. The seats are empty because the new guests, the ones who match your future frequency, are currently making their way to you. Let's go deeper into the mechanism of the 3 deaths. The first death was likely the death of your innocence, the realization that the world is not safe and that people you trusted could harm you. The second death was the death of your ego, the crumbling of who you thought you were, often through a career failure or a public humiliation. The third death, the one you have just survived, was the death of your fear. This is the most critical one. Once you lose the fear of death, you become uncontrollable by the systems of this world. The system controls people through 2 things, the fear of poverty and the fear of rejection. You have faced both. You have stared at the bank account with 0 balance and survived. You have stood alone in the cold wind of rejection and survived. What leverage does the enemy have left? None. This is why you are dangerous. This is why the atmosphere shifts when you walk into a room. You are walking in the liberty of someone who has nothing left to lose and everything to gain. Now, I must reveal a secret about the timing of your breakthrough. I know many of you are asking, if I have survived, why hasn't the harvest arrived yet? Why is there this lag time? In physics, there is a concept called hysteresis, the lag between the application of a force and its effect. You have applied the force. You have shifted the energy. The lag you are experiencing is simply the material world rearranging itself to catch up with your spiritual reality. The 3D world is dense and slow. The spirit realm is instant. The victory has already happened in the unseen. The download is currently buffering into your visible reality. During this buffering phase, the enemy will try one last tactic, distraction. If he cannot destroy you, he will try to distract you. He will send busy work. He will send petty dramas. He will send people who need saving, but who are actually energy vampires sent to waste your time. He knows that your time is now your most valuable currency. Be ruthless with your focus. If it does not align with your assignment, it gets a no. If it does not bring you peace, it gets a no. You are no longer available for nonsense. You are on a mission. I want to give you a practical tool to accelerate this materialization process. It involves the power of your voice. For years, you may have been silenced, either by oppressive people or by your own lack of confidence. But your voice has a unique frequency signature that commands matter. The ancient texts say that life and death are in the power of the tongue. This is literal. When you speak, you are casting sound waves that restructure the atoms of your environment. Here is the protocol. Stop speaking about your problems as if they are permanent. Stop telling the story of your trauma. Every time you retell the story of how you were victimized, you are re-cementing that reality into your cellular memory. You are telling your subconscious, this is who I am. Stop it. Start telling the story of your future as if it is your history. Speak of your abundance in the present tense. I am resourced. I am healed. I am surrounded by favor. It will feel fake at first. Your logical mind will rebel. It will say, you are lying. Ignore the logical mind. It is a processor of past data, not a creator of future reality. Override it. There is also a significant connection between the chosen ones and the breaking of generational curses. You are not just fighting for yourself, you are the champion for your bloodline. The addictions, the divorces, the poverty, the mental illness that has plagued your family for generations. It's stop. Attention. You need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life. A guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you. And strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10 Zuru readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who are tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.